Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Adequate Samuel, but I'm popularly known as Dr. Sammy. Now today we'll be treating conic section. Parabola will be the topic we'll be treating on that conic section today. Now this diagram or this graph you're seeing is called parabola, and then this diagram is called what? Parabola. So parabola is just a half curve. Are we together? So parabola is just like a half curve. Let us say half curve of a cycle. So now this parabola you're seeing here is formed by this equation when it's at the origin. This is the origin. Now this graph you're seeing here is formed by this equation when it's at the word origin. Are we together? Now there are other things we need to know about parabola very well. Now this place in parabola is called, this origin is called vertex, and then I'll represent, let's vertex, which is V, and then it is 0. Please take note of this. Now a distance from this origin, which is the vertex, to any place here is called the focus. F focus. Please take note of this focus. Now the distance from this vertex to this focus is labeled P. So this side is called focus, this side is called vertex. Now let me extend this a little bit. Okay, I don't need, it's okay. I think the graph is okay like this. Now a distance from this place to this place is called 2p, and a distance from this place to this place is also called 2p. So the total length from this place to this place is 4p, and we call the total length lactus rectum. So you just know that the lactus rectum equals to 4p. Now another thing to note about parabola is that now the focus is here, the vertex is here. Now if the focus from this place to this place, from this vertex to the opposite to this focus, it is the focus from this vertex to this place, let me represent it with imaginary horizontal line. From this place to this place is called directrix. So this distance is p, you know, this is focus. So the opposite focus from this place to this place, the distance p, is called what? Directrix. And by formula, directrix, by formula it is x, by formula directrix is x. Now on this, sorry, by formula directrix is y. Now can you see it's on the what? Negative x-axis of y. So y minus, and then the distance to get the focus p. So this is the formula for directrix on the what? On this parabola what curve. Now let's move to this. Same thing applies here. Distance from here to here is called what? Where the section parabola is facing is called what? Focus. And this place is called what? Vertex. V, it's the origin 0 0. And then the distance from here to here is called what? P. The distance from this vertex to this point is called P. The width of this curve is 4p, and it's called lactus rectum. Lactus rectum is 4p. Then the directrix is just at the what? Opposite side. So the directrix is here. The directrix should be here. So the focus is here. Focus is here. So the distance here is the directrix P, and then it occurs on x-axis. So directrix is now directrix equals to, it will now be directrix on x-axis, directrix on x-axis now equals to minus P, because it occurs at the x-axis. So please take note of these things very very well. I'll come over again. This graph is formed by the equation x squared equals to 4py. The height from this place to this place is called our lactus rectum, and then by formula it is 4p, because this place height is 2p, this place height is 2p, making it 4p. Now a distance, this point at the center is called the what? Vertex. A distance from the vertex is called what? Focus. A distance from the vertex is called what? Focus. Are we together? F. And then the distance from the vertex to the focus is called my P. Now, why my directrix is the what? Opposite focus. Like for instance, look at this place. From this place, vertex to this place is also focus. So therefore, this place, the distance between the vertex and the focus will be my P. So therefore, my directrix is on y-axis. So it will be what? Negative P, because it falls on the negative side. So directrix is just the opposite side of the word focus. So this is the formula for my directrix. Now when we come to this place, it's also the same thing. The height of this is what? 4p, and it's called lactus rectum, 4p. Now the place where the parabola is facing is called what? Focus F, which is this place. Now the distance from the vertex to the focus is P, and then the vertex is at the origin, which is 0, 0. Now the opposite side for the focus, opposite side will be here, focus. Are we together? So the distance from the point to the opposite focus will be what? P. So therefore my directrix, are we together? I told you directrix is always at the opposite focus, so P. So my directrix will be, and is occurring at x-axis, x equals to negative, because it's at the negative axis of x, so it will be negative what? P. So and this is the equation forming this curve. This is the equation forming this curve. So please take note of these things I've explained. We'll be using them in calculating some questions under parabola. So guys, also take note, the focus at this place, the focus axis is, this vertex is 0 to what? To P. So the focus is 0 to P. Are we together? X-axis is 0 here, and then the y is the distance of P. So the focus is 0 to P. And the focus on this graph is from what? X is on P, so the focus is P, comma, to no axis on Y, so P, comma, 0. So please take note of this, very very well important. So on this place, your focus F is what? 0 to P, and on this place your focus is what? P to what? 0. Please take note of that. Okay guys, now this another case under what? Parabola. Now this graph means that the equation is not at the origin, as in the graph is not at the origin, and this means that the graph is not at the what? Origin. That is not, the vertex is not at the what? Origin. The vertex is not at the origin. So therefore the vertex is at this place and the vertex is at this place. Now therefore, since the vertex is not at the origin, it will be v equals to, let's represent it with hk because it now has a value. So the vertex can now be v equals to hk. Now remember, when this graph is at the origin, the equation is s squared equals to 4 4py, and this equation is y squared equals to 4px. So now how does this equation affect this? This is how it affects this. Now since this is not at the what? The vertex is not at the origin again, this equation will change. It will become x. Now h, this xy, h is on x-axis and k is on y-axis. So anywhere we see x, we put what? H. So it will be x minus h square equals to 4p. Now there's y in the equation, so y minus what? K. So this is what the equation turns to look like. Now why this one too becomes y minus h, sorry, this xy, it will be y minus k xy, y minus k square equals to 4p, then x minus h. Yeah, so this is the formulas. These are the formulas. Are we together? So this is the formula of this graph now when it's not at the origin of the vertex. This is the equation of the what? Graph. I mean graph when it's not at the what? Origin of the vertex. Now this also affects, the focus will be at this place, and then this is p. The focus will be at this place, and then this is p. The distance is p. Now it will affect what? The focus. Now for this graph the focus is what? 0 comma p. Now therefore you add this vertex to the word focus now to become the focus will now become 0 plus h to become h comma k plus p to now become k plus p. So now here also you do the same thing. Focus, the focus here on graph that occurs at the what? Origin vertex is p comma 0. So therefore the focus will now become um p plus h to become h plus p comma k. So this is what the focus will look like. Now the directrix here, directrix is just like the what? From this point to this point, the opposite of this distance is the directrix, so it will occur at the down part, so which is p. So therefore from this point vertex to this focus is what? The directrix. Now what will the directrix look like? Now directrix for this before is y equals to minus p on the this is the directrix for this equation on the what? When the graph is formed at the origin, but the graph is not formed at the origin now, so the directrix will become y equals to, now the directrix will be this h is for x-axis, k is for y-axis, so therefore it will now be k minus p. So now what will the directrix here be? The directrix here will simply be s equals to, directrix here before is what? Minus p. So therefore it will now be s equals to, now the vertex is h and k, x is what? H, so it will now be h minus p. So that's the directrix. So therefore and the directrix occur from this focus to the, from this vertex to the focus f, and then it are the negative side of p, and these are the negative side of p. So this is the word formulas you need to what? Know. So please let me recap again. The vertex is now at h and k because it has a value, it's not at the origin, and then the focus is 0 to p for the normal equation, but now that the vertex is not at the origin, the focus will be what? F open bracket h comma k plus p. Same thing with here too. So please take note of the word focus. This is the focus for this graph, this is the focus for this graph. Take note of it. Take note of this equation, and then take note of the directrix. This is the directrix, and this also the what? Directrix. So please take note of these things. So therefore now this how all the words equation looks like. Now since it's not at the word origin again, the equation is this, and then the focus is this, the directrix is this, the vertex is this. Now for this, the vertex is this, the equation is this, and then since it's not at the word origin, then the focus is this and the directrix is this. So please take note of the directrix, the equation forming this graph now, since it's not at the origin, and then the focus is this. The equation forming this graph, since it's not at the origin, is this. The focus is this, and the directrix is this. And I'll show you how we got this. X minus h squared, because the square on this, equals to 4p y minus k close bracket. Do the same thing for here. We'll have y minus y as this is k, so y minus k square equals to 4p x minus, now h is x minus h. Then this is it. From this we get this, from this we get this. Now this is the equation of this graph, this is the equation of this whole graph. So, and the focus is this, the directrix is this. So please take note of this, very very important. We'll be using them in calculations. Now guys, this question, case 1, under parabola, find the standard form of the equation of a parabola with vertex at the origin and focus. Now actually you remember that when the focus is 0 comma p, when the focus is 0 comma p, the graph it falls under, you can check back what you have jotted down. The graph it falls under is, when it is 0 comma p, the graph it falls under is s square equals to 4py at the origin. So therefore now the focus, the p for the focus, when you compare this standard focus under this graph to this focus, the p should be, the p is now what, 4. So therefore to get the equation of the graph, it becomes s square equals to 4 times p is 4 times y. So s square equals to 4 times 4 is 16y. Now divide both sides by 16. Let's make y solid formula. Divide both sides by 16. Then we have y equals to x square over 16 as our what, as our equation of the what, parabola, when the vertex is at the origin. Now solving this case study question 2, find the focus of a parabola given by this equation. Now to do this, first thing you have to do is to change the equation to linear equation, which is to now become, so changing this to linear equation, we multiply through by the denominator, which is 2. Multiplying through by 2, 2 times y is 2y. Then if you multiply this by 2, you have minus x squared, that is times 2, 2 will cancel 2. Multiply this by 8 to become 2s. If you multiply half by 2, punch it in your calculator, you have what, 1. So now, this is the equation. But let me take you back to something. Now, since we have s squared here, it means that the equation is under this. It's under this graph. Since it's s squared, the equation is under this graph. S squared equals to 4py. But since they say that we should find the word focus, it means that what, the equation is not at the word origin. So therefore it will now be x minus h square equals to 4p y minus k. Are we together? So it will be this. Now our aim is to what, solve this equation and then change it to this word form, so that we can have our h and k. So doing this, we have to what, collect all the what, we have to bring all the x at one side and every value that is not x at the other side, so it will become this. But before doing that, we can also do something. We can multiply through by minus so that the x will be positive. Multiply through by minus 1. By minus 1. Therefore, it becomes minus 2y equals to x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now, we can now collect like terms. It becomes minus 2y plus 1 equals to x squared plus 2x. Now, what we do, what? We'll complete this. We'll use completing of the square method here to balance what? This equation here and this equation here. So, how do we do this? We'll pick the coefficient of x, which is 2. we'll multiply it to what? Half. So multiply 2 to half. It will give you what? It will give you 1. So the coefficient of this x, which is to multiply to half, it will give us 1. Then square the 1, it will be 1 square. Add it to the both sides of the equation, it will now be plus 1 square. Therefore here plus 1 square. So I've added it to the both side of the equation. Therefore, what do I do now? 1 square is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So this place we have minus 2y plus 2 equals to. Now this place, the value with square, that's what the one we'll pick. So s is v square plus 1 is v square. Then we'll put everything in square. We'll meet this value that does not have square. So getting at this point, this place will factorize this thing. We'll factorize 2 out here. 2 is factorable. So therefore it becomes minus 2 open bracket y minus 1. Now if you use this minus 2 to open this bracket, you get this back. Minus 2 times y is minus 2y minus 2 times minus 1 is plus 2 equals to x plus 1 square. Now we have successfully solved this equation in this format now. So what do? We look for our what? Our h and k. Now how do we get that? Now our h is in the bracket of x. So therefore, you just take the inverse of this 1. So that is the opposite to the sign of 1. That is what is going to be your h now. Therefore, here my h will now become, instead of writing 1, h is inside the bracket of x. So instead of writing 1, it's now become minus 1. So therefore, now the value for my k, my k is inside the bracket of y. So instead of being minus 1, I will change the sign. I'll take the opposite to now be 1. So therefore, my focus, focus is h comma k. Therefore, my focus is now h is what? Minus 1 comma 1.